Hey everyone, welcome back. So, you're ready to start building on Solana, right? Well, to do that, we first need to get a handle on the foundational syntax of Rust, and that's exactly what we're going to dive into today. This explainer is brought to you by all of us here at Forge College. All right, let's kick things off with a big idea. I want you to stop thinking about a Rust file as just, a page of code. Instead, picture it as a super detailed engineering blueprint. I mean, every single detail matters. Each character, every little symbol, it all has a specific job to do, just like on a schematic for a high-tech engine. If we can get this mindset right from the start, we're already halfway to building something seriously solid.
Okay, so first things first when you're looking at a blueprint, you've got to understand the layout, right? So let's break down the basic structure of a Rust file and see how it all fits together.
So take a look at this. It might look simple, but it's got all the key parts. See that use statement at the top? Think of that as importing schematics for some special parts you're going to need from the library. Then you've got fn, which is how you define a function. You can just think of a function as a reusable set of assembly instructions. And then, the big one, fn main. This is the main workshop, the starting point, where the whole construction project actually begins. Everything kicks off from here.
All right, so a great blueprint is one thing, but it's kind of useless if you don't specify the exact materials you're building with, right? Well, in programming, our materials are what we call data types. Let's take a look. And I love how this table really brings it home. Look, an I-32 isn't just some abstract number, it's a 32mm bolt. It has a specific size, same with F64. That's like a 64mm pane of glass, super precise. And a bool? Well, that's easy. It's just an on-off switch, true or false. A char is like a unique stamp you put on a component. And N-star? Think of that as a pre-printed label you stick on things. See how these analogies make it all feel a lot more concrete?
Now what's cool is that Rust gives you two ways to handle this material specification. On the one hand, you have explicit annotation. This is you, the engineer, saying, nope, I need this exact part number, leaving absolutely nothing to chance. Then, on the other side, you have type inference. This is where you trust the system. You're basically saying, hey, everyone knows what a standard size 10 bolt is. Just grab me one of those. The compiler is smart enough to figure it out. Both ways are super useful, but knowing when to be super specific is a real skill.
Okay, this next part is, well, it's absolutely crucial. It can feel a little subtle at first, but it's one of the biggest things to get right in Rust. We're talking about expressions versus statements, basically knowing how to read the instructions on the blueprint correctly. So, I've got a little pop quiz for you. In this entire Rust blueprinting system, what do you think is the single most powerful character? Just one little piece of punctuation. Any guesses? I'll give you a hint. It's probably not the one you're thinking of.
And the answer is the semicolon. Seriously, check this out. On the left, you've got 1 plus 2. That's an expression. It's an instruction that says calculate this and give me the result, which is 3. But look what happens on the right when you add a semicolon. It becomes a statement. The action is performed, but the result is just thrown away. The semicolon is like the quality inspector's final stamp on the blueprint that says, yep, this task is done, move along. It's wild how that one tiny character completely changes the meaning of everything.
All right, theory time is over. We've gone over the layout, the materials, and how to read the instructions. Now let's put it all together and try a simple assembly. We're going to see what happens when our very particular quality control inspector, the Rust compiler, takes a look at our work. So here's how it plays out. In step 1, our blueprint has a flaw. We're trying to multiply count, which is an integer, by price, which is a float. The compiler, our inspector, immediately flags it. The report comes back, whoa, hold on, you can't multiply a solid bolt with a fragile pane of glass. They're just not compatible materials. So in step 3, we make the correction. We tell the blueprint, okay, treat that count as if it's a float. And boom, the materials are now compatible. Step 4, assembly success. We get the right output and everyone's happy.
And this really brings us to maybe the most important mindset shift you can make when learning Rust. The compiler is not your enemy. It's not there to yell at you. It's your most valuable partner. Those error messages are actually incredibly precise guides telling you exactly where your blueprint is wrong. Learning to listen to the compiler is how you build incredibly robust and reliable programs. And that's just non-negotiable when you're building for something like Solana.
Woof! Okay, we have covered a ton of ground. So let's boil it all down into a quick checklist, your go-to guide for reading these Rust blueprints.
So here it is, your blueprint essentials. Number 1, use imports your schematics. fn main is the workshop where it all happens. 2, types are your material specs.
I32, F64, so be specific. 3. If the compiler seems confused, just annotate the type to give it some clarity. 4. Don't forget the semicolon. Expressions give you back a value, semicolons turn them into a job's done statement. And finally, the big one. The compiler is your best friend, your quality control inspector. Listen to it.
And that brings us to the final question, really. Now that you've got the basics of reading the blueprint, the big question is, what are you going to build on Solana? This explainer was brought to you by Forge College. If you want to go even deeper on this stuff or explore other Web3 topics, you should definitely check out our website at forge.college. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today, and we'll see you next time.